Hey guys, Ron here, and a few months ago I released a video where I turned average Pokemon like Castform and Behem into legendary Pokemon. We have similar stuff in the actual canon, like how Diancie is a mutation of Carbink, but I got so tired of waiting for more examples that I decided to do it myself. So in this video I took 4 more average Pokemon who I think needed powerful looking designs and reimagined them as legendary Pokemon. One of these is an evolved form of an existing Pokemon, another is a powerful, ancient version of an unpopular Pokemon, and the other 2 are Pokemon I think had a lot of potential lore, so I spiced them up and turned them into mythicals. Keep in mind that in this series, I'm trying to use Pokemon that aren't as popular or epic looking already. For example, Golurk and Absol already look pretty legendary, so there's no need to give them any boost. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want me to make a part 3, and let me know which Pokemon you think should be upgraded and become legendary Pokemon. Also, click the notification bell to know when that will come out. Now, the first Pokemon that actually inspired this series was actually Hypno. I've always wanted to see a Mega Hypno, but since its time has passed, how about a full-blown evolved form? Something that is so rare and powerful, it's become a legendary Pokemon that's even talked about in Legends. I mean, yeah, that's what legendary is. Hypno is seen as this frail yet creepy humanoid tapir. It's barely an animal and uses human tools, but it's based on the Baku, a dream-eating yokai. In all other depictions, they look very monstrous, so how about we make a legendary Hypno that is inspired by these sightings? One that is more mystical yet beast-like. It'll be quadrupedal and be a final combination of both Drowsy and Hypno. It doesn't use a pendulum, but rather its entire body. I'm going to start with a longer Hypno face and include a nose inspired by both of its pre-evolutions, long tusks and a mane that grew from Hypno's. I'm outlining the animal body before overhauling the mane. I thought it looked very generic, like any old animal's mane, so I gave it these dreamy wisps before finally opting to make them these hypnotic curls. Its mane is constantly moving and is made of ectoplasm. That's when I realized it should be a ghost that enters dreams. I gave it spikes on its back made of ghostly fire, and spots like most Baku depictions have. It has these combinations of hooves and claws, like Hypno and Drowsy. The same material as its mane goes around its ankles to make it look even more like a nightmare apparition. And finally, spots on its body, like how the Malaysian tapir has a different colored lower half. Finishing it off with the tail and making it yellow, of course, with purplish spots. I gave the spots variations as if they are disappearing as they go up this Pokemon's body. A bit like a Cheshire cat, it has these hypnotic eyes after all too. Here is Dreamar, the Hypnosis Pokemon, a psychic ghost type. From Dreamer and Mar to destroy. It evolves from Hypno upon entering a dream in a future game. When a Hypno gets hold of and consumes an entire nightmare, there's a chance it will temporarily evolve into Dreamar. It's a representation of how Hypno truly sees itself. It was thought to only exist in dreams, but if Hypno manages to exit a nightmare in this state, it will remain a Dreamar. This legendary Pokemon is incredibly destructive. It can enter the dreams of an entire village at will and consume them. The sight of a Dreamar can instantly put you to sleep, as its swirling mane and undulating eyes hypnotize you. Those who befriend Dreamar are able to ride them within their dreams as well, navigating their inner psyche. Skilled trainers in the past would use Dreamar to enter the dreams of others and find the cause of their mental anguish. Dreamar's physical body will occasionally disappear, since it's tied to the dream world. It must consume dreams in order to stay in the physical world. Thankfully, its consumption of nightmares has a positive effect on the lives of those around it. It has a new ability called Night Terror. Its physical and special attack are boosted by 50% when their opponent is asleep. This legendary is a beast. I love the idea of a loyal monster that can help you navigate dreams, and the design came out great. I was worried that it looked too fantastical to be a Pokemon, but it's clearly part of the Hypno line, like Chad Hypno. Now, Plusle and Minun have never been seen as legendary or particularly powerful, but we have a ton of tiny mythicals that can destroy cities. So how about a duo of mischievous mythicals? This red and blue team reminds me of another Japanese pair, the red and blue Oni. Oni are basically ogre demons in Japanese mythology, and sometimes they're seen together, like a red one with 2 horns and a blue one with 1 horn. They're even sometimes showcased to, use electrical powers and wear tiger skin loincloths. I mean, that's basically what Electabuzz is based on. So this yellow, blue, and red color scheme is very easy to implement with, Plusle and Minun, since they're already these colors. Raijin and Fujin, the inspiration for Thundurus and Tornadus, also have the same traits. So I'm basically going to make these tiny floating thunder gods who wield their long tails like clubs, because that's the weapon of choice of an Oni. Let's begin with Plusle. I mean, it's literally just an angrier Plusle. Its eyes are way bigger and its ears super pointy to simulate horns. I mean, they aren't actually ears. They're in fact lightning rod horns. I'll experiment by giving it plus-shaped whiskers a couple of times, but it never works out. A plus without the circles makes total sense. The question is, what extra features that Plusle doesn't already have can I add? These spikes on its head will stay, Chibi body, again basically giving it the vibe of a Pokemon like Mew and Celebi. Its long tail adds to this vibe. It uses it as a weapon. Some lightning patterns that also look like Oni clothes. I thought the design will really come together once the colors were added. It's red and yellow, almost like an inverted Plusle, very dark looking. I'll lighten the yellow in the final art. But before moving on, let's first make our Minun mythical. I mean, it's the same body and face, so I'm borrowing it from the powerful Plusle. The big difference here is that this Pokemon will only have one horn and look angry, more negative instead of positively motivated. Adding a different configuration of spikes, and these electric colors, looks even more like an electric dark type now, even more than the Plusle version. Here are Plusoni and Minoni, the inciting Pokemon. Electric dark types, ancient versions of Plusle and Minun. In ancient times, Plusoni and Minoni would use their electric powers to incite violent mobs. These mythical Pokemon are able to simulate muscles and boil the blood of those who are demotivated. They hate boredom and want to see humans fight for their amusement. Plusoni riles people up, while Minoni gives them negative emotions. Only together can they create a mob that seeks destruction. Their horns gather electricity like a lightning rod, and they use electricity to float above the ground. They use their tails as blunt weapons, and it is believed that Plusle and Minun descend from these violent Pokemon. They both have the ability Dark Aura. I'm sure some will prefer the cuteness of the original Pokemon, while others will gravitate towards these cooler iterations. Originally I thought Plusoni looked more complete, but I honestly started to prefer Minoni for its color scheme and facial expression. The one horn is a unique look. And finally, Conkeldurr is a Pokemon that I think is neat, but it isn't too popular among the youth. It's based on carnies and strongmen, but its utilization of two pillars reminds me of a very iconic biblical figure. Samson, another legendary strongman. Now, Shimshon in Hebrew was the last judge of the ancient Israelites. He was superhumanly strong, able to defeat lions and take on an entire army. And the secret to his God-given power was his vow to be pure, abstain from alcohol, and never cut his hair. So when his lover found this out, she sold him out to Samson's enemies. They cut his hair while he was sleeping, draining him of his power, and then turned him over to the Philistines. They then blinded him and made him their slave. When the Philistines were displaying him at their temple, Samson prayed and got his powers back since his hair grew back since they last cut it, and he was able to bring down the columns that supported the building, collapsing the temple, taking himself out along with his enemies. So I'm gonna turn Conkeldurr into a legendary figure using this as an inspiration. He'll be a strong giant that is holding two marble columns. Okay, so it's a slightly longer but definitely taller Conkeldurr with a vertical nose, a straight up marble beard, and longer legs. Its head will have patterns like a construction helmet, but then I gave it a vein that looks like an Israelite headband with a stone ponytail, adding the columns so I know the proportions to follow, and big meaty hands holding them. Conkeldurr's veins will wrap around its arms like chains, but they actually boost his strength and allow his arms to stretch. I'm adding the veins in the lower body so it looks like the cuffs of short pants. I'm making the ends of the veins dangle like chains, and I remembered to cut half of the ponytail off like Samson, adding some definition and the final tubes to make it look like he's also chained by the waist, some details to show wear and tear, and finally adding these tanner colors with a wider beard. It makes him look very godlike. It was fun adding the marble patterns, very satisfying to draw these lines on the columns since they're all random. Here is Marbeldur, the strong Pokemon, a fighting rock type. God, did its name work out perfectly. There was once a mutated species of Conkeldurr who roamed the land. It was as strong as it was artistic. It was able to sculpt marble with its bare hands, but over time, it slowly lost its vision. It senses its surroundings using the vibrations it feels through its marble columns. It is able to polish and regenerate those columns every day. The exterior layer of muscle that wraps around its arms helps it lift boulders 20 times its size. It was feared for its stature and envied for its talent. Many of its sculptures have been preserved. It is said to have taught humans the art of architecture. It was able to create and destroy buildings. At one point, it was held captive by a mad king, but escaped by knocking down the support pillars that held up the temple it was displayed at. It abandoned humanity ever since. It has guts. Literally. I love this so much. Every single aspect of its inspiration was able to be naturally incorporated into the design. It was tough trying to understand how to make its legs stand in such a position, since Conkeldurr's legs are always wide apart, but I'm sure they look fine in the end. And I hope you like it too. If you enjoyed and want to see part 3, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. Make sure to check out the previous art videos, like turning anime characters into Pokemon or Pokemon type swaps. Consider becoming a patron or clicking the join button to get cool rewards like seeing videos days early and a huge discount on the t-shirts I made for you guys. Follow me on Twitter where I will post sneak peeks and final art of these Pokemon. Bye!